Join us for this compact SUV comparison episode. Toyota Corolla Cross versus Honda HR-V versus Kia Sportage versus VW T-Roc versus Mazda CX-5.
This SUV here will be one of the most important SUVs in the years to come. It is the Toyota Corolla Cross. Here was Thomas and Autogefühl for you. Well, the name Corolla stands for itself. The normal compact car, the Toyota Corolla, the most sold vehicle overall worldwide, over 50 million times, and they want to continue this success story with this compact SUV. That's why the naming then Toyota Corolla Cross, and also fitting to that segment. They want to sell over 400,000 pieces a year with that one here. And it's very interesting because already internally in the Toyota brand, it sits between the CHR and the RAV4 size-wise. And there's also the new, very small brother, the Toyota Yaris Cross. We also have both of these vehicles here in the yellow or golden car, the Yaris Cross, and then the new Corolla Cross next to it. And they differ quite a lot in size. I will also tell you soon more about that. But let's start here with the front. A very bold front. It's kind of like a baby RAV4 already from the looks. It looks really strong for this compact SUV segment. I think Toyota recently had, especially when I think about the CHR, for example, they had some design methods where maybe weren't that ideal. But this one looks amazing and really bold, doesn't it? This color is called, how's it called again, Brian?
Cement.
Cement, right? They really call it cement. Porsche calls it chalk white or chalk gray, and Toyota calls it cement. Thanks, Brian. Brian's behind the camera today. And he'll also give you a segment later about the British perspective and the perspective of a family father of this vehicle. But now let's continue with my German perspective. And I say, like, design-wise, is really great. One of the best looking compact SUVs right now. So the cement gray color, especially fitting to the vehicle, bold front grille, and also the headlamps in a very modern form, daytime running light. I think they really nailed it here design-wise. Contrasting black right here. What do you think? The length here of the Toyota Corolla Cross is 4.46 meters or 176 inches. And that is particularly interesting indeed because it sits also between a lot of the competitors. It is longer than the Honda HR-V, a Mazda CX-30, a Volkswagen T-Roc, and it's a little bit shorter than the Mazda CX-5 or the VW T-Roc or the Honda CR-V. And this position in between makes it kind of ready to attack all of the competitors at the same time. Very interesting proposal. 17 or optional 18-inch wheels. We have the bigger ones right here. Then we have these crossover wheel arches, kind of like trapeze or trapezoid style. Once again, I think very bold statement for a compact SUV. Also here with the contrasting cladding. And then we have the interesting, very premium-like touch with the Corolla Cross lettering here. So this looks off-roadish, right? I mean, we also have some soft off-roading in our driving part today. In the rear, also a very consistent design, horizontal, these tail lamps here, and not much playing around. Once again, bold statement, contrasting colors, but not too much, and also no fake exhaust whatsoever. I think this is really a good example of how to design a modern SUV. It goes, by the way, top speed 180 kilometers an hour or 112 miles an hour. Key fob is very light and simple, does the job, defo. And then the doors here with door closing sound, let's see. Well, that doesn't sound good at all. Well, that's one catch, but what about the interior? Well, here, the inside of the doors, that's soft touch and it looks nice. It has kind of like a leather surface, I would say, but it is not leather, but not animal leather. So like a leatherette kind of surface, but it looks really high class indeed. And also here the door handle from the inside. So this is a step up the game by Toyota. Some space at the inside of the doors here as well. And then this interior, it does remind us of some other models, of course. And here the steering wheel with real buttons still. That's good to have, that you can real click on that thing. Everything resonates very well with that quality here. This is hardback here at the left side. This as well, but this one also here too. But it looks actually quite nice with that kind of stamped in surface structure. That's cool. The seats, you either get base fabric seats, in black, or in US also in the bright style. Higher trims come with Softex high-grade leatherette on the American market. However, in the European market, Toyota still sells these here containing animal parts. Seating position is actually really good. It's very comfortable from the seats. They are not too much caging you in, yet at the same they do offer you side support. They're quite sporty actually, but not too sporty, so I think they found a great seating, really good ergonomics from the seats. The position here, you can put the steering wheel in and out, up and down, so you can find a very good driving position. It already feels like a grown-up SUV indeed, without being too big for some purposes, like a RAV4 or a VW Tiguan or something. The Tiguan Allspace, of course, is a little bit longer. That would be the base Tiguan in the US. So yeah, I think this is a very nice feeling and good, in-between segment they found here between the CHR and the RAV4 for them. Headroom here with 189 or 602. Yeah, plenty of headroom left, no problem at all. Base would be 7-inch screen with analog gauges. These here are the optional 12.3-inch full digital instruments, and they also have nice visualizations for the driving mode, like here the power mode, the eco mode, or the normal mode, which rather has to do with throttle input, for example. And you always have a nice digital speedometer right there, so it does the job. And of course the consumption, that one went up when we're going uphill and off-roading. You can score better consumption figures, like 5 liters on 1 kilometers on motorway driving, 1 kilometers an hour or 60 miles an hour. That would be like 47 mpg US, 56 mpg UK, and even better actually when you had a little bit less fast driving and make more use of that hybrid drivetrain. The dashboard here in the lower area has a nice leatherette texture and also has some kind of soft touch top. That's really nice. And also here, the glove box is dampened. That's nice actually, quality wise. And then, well, just when shutting it, it makes a typical noise, but I can live with that. Then here, this middle console right there, this is the automatic shifting lever. You also have the drive mode buttons here, and the electric parking brake, and the cup holders, they are a little bit open. They are not adaptive, and I don't like the high gloss black panel lacquer here. And the this one here is not that well attached though, but you have some more space underneath. Here's an area I do appreciate. These buttons here, here for seat heating, high and low, heated steering wheel, they look kind of old school, but in a way or in a world where everything is now digitalized, this resonates very well. It really has a nice clicking sound, and it gives kind of like tough feeling to the vehicle. That's funny. USB-A chargers here in the front, but also inductive charging pad, and USB-C chargers will be in the back. Infotainment system, you would start with an 8-inch one in the US, but already features Apple CarPlay and Android Auto Wireless. And this one here is the bigger 10.25-inch, so just bigger in the screen than here. And actually it does have a GPS you can use. It's maybe not as good as Google Maps or Apple Maps, but the first time we're in a Toyota, and I also saw the shuttle drivers using the Toyota internal GPS. So that speaks for it indeed. So, and then the base system here, I deactivate this beeping sound because it drives you nuts, by the way. It doesn't have too much things, but most of the time you will use it for the smartphone mirroring anyway, and that is a very nice large integration of Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. So now some music. That is actually a very good sound here in that. Wow, that is amazing. Woo. I mean, this vehicle has some, in a lot of ways premium touch. And by the way, this is here another volume adjustment inside the screen, but there are also real buttons. Well, to turn something for real is the climate unit, and that is also great for the easy user interface. Vent strength is here, but to me the most important is I can actually just change the temperature slightly and easily while driving. Inside of doors, it has a structure, that's nice, but it's actually hard pack. So yeah, I used my door for that, but it looks actually quite decent. The doors do not open that wide. That might be a problem for getting child seats in and out, but you do have Isofix on the outside seats each, and also the nice soft touch leatherette here for the rear seats. You can also change the angle of the seats here a little bit, make them more upright or put them more behind, and the seating comfort is actually quite decent. It is not segment leading in legroom, better than the CHR, but it's getting really close when I'm driving in the front. But if the driver is a little bit smaller, it's fine, and you can use this car with 4 tall adults. That is possible indeed. So better than the CHR. The RAV4, of course, has a little bit more space. And if we take a look at the external competitors, VW T-Roc would be similar. The Tiguan is a little bit better, but it's also the bigger car. Honda has the best package. Already the HR-V, the small one, offers great legroom in the rear in comparison to other vehicles in the segment. And the CR-V, of course, really good. So they are not segment leading here, the Toyota Corolla Cross, as for legroom, but headroom is actually totally fine. There's a lot of headroom left, and the quality here in the rear also seems fine. Cup holders are not adaptive though, but everything else feels and looks good. 2 USB-C chargers here in the lower part, by the way. Let's take a look at the trunk or the boot. Brian, you from the UK. Is it boot at UK, right? It's boot,
That's
right?
boot.
Yeah, boot. So that's why I always say both, trunk and or boot. And in Germany, by the way, it's Kofferraum or Gepäckraum. So Kofferraum is more like suitcase area in a direct translation. Listen and repeat, Kofferraum. That's the new German vocabulary here on Autogefühl today. Yeah, Gepäckraum would be more like loading area, and you can say both actually. 430 liters it is here, or 25 cubic feet. Let's take a detailed look. The only thing I don't like is this cover here. I mean, it doesn't have a sharp edge. That's good. So that's, no problem. But here you don't have any gap in here. So you always have to do like this to remove it. You can live with it, but it's not ideal. Here, a lot of space indeed. And these gaps here in the side, they are very well done, because you can use it here, for example, for Brian's laptop bag, or here for my backpack right there. So very well done indeed. And the minimum width here is about 90 centimeters or 35 inches. That's already good. But I mean, here then, if you use then these gaps on the inside, it's like acres of space in width. That's very well done. And here the length is about 85 centimeters or 33 inches. So that's already quite decent. And the height, I mean, there is a small loading sill step here, but that's then meaning you have 80 centimeters or 31 inches of height. That's good. You fold the seats, you can grab over from here. You do have some kind of step then here, because the suitcases are also tied together. So there is this step right here. But then again, you get the full height here. So that, by the way, underneath the cover is nothing in the hybrid version, at least here. So, and then the full length to my seat as I would be driving is about like 165 or 64 inches. Let's take a look at the engines here. So in the US market, for example, most important and the main engine is a 2-liter naturally aspirated engine with around 10 seconds in the acceleration figure. Same acceleration would have the 1.8 hybrid, all 4-cylinder engines. And then there is a 2-liter hybrid we have here today. That's the quickest one with 7.5 seconds in the acceleration figure. This one here is also available as an all-wheel drive version. Then it has an electric motor in the rear, an additional one. The hybrid system here, of course, for better fuel economy. We'll tell you more about that later on. What is interesting is when you go for these hybrid drivetrains, the 1.8 or the 1.8 or the 2-liter hybrid, they have the 5th generation hybrid now. Lithium-ion battery, less weight, more efficiency, more power. If that's all true, we'll find out in the driving part very soon. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the Toyota Corolla Cross, and starting here on the motorway, about 80 kilometers an hour, so like 50 miles an hour. Wow, I mean, it behaves very, very well. So it's really silent and smooth. So Brian also, that's what was one of the first things he told me when he was entering the car and we were getting on the motorway and just was getting off now so I can enter again to give you something of the acceleration. It is indeed super smooth. And let's just, hit the accelerator pedal when we go uphill and go 60 to 80. Let's see how smooth that is. Well, that's it. That was almost 85. So it's quite okay, you know. I mean, you still have this CVT-alike feeling, although it's this, you know, e-CVT in the hybrid. So, but it's definitely less than before. So also the acceleration feels less hybrid-alike, I would say. So it indeed feels like a more premium vehicle, I would say, and definitely like a baby RAV4. You know, you sit a little bit lower and it's not that large around you. Yeah, and also like from the things you know, you feel, see, and touch, and so on. This is really a notable upgrade. Also, how the infotainment works and so on. So now at 100 kilometers an hour, 60 miles an hour, and it's still reasonably silent. Although the tarmac here around Barcelona is quite rough indeed and does give a lot of noise. We can also have the adaptive cruise control in this vehicle, depending on the trim level, of course. Set now to about 100 kilometers an hour or 60 miles an hour. You have different assistance systems. You also have the lane keeping assist, the active one. Now it is active. Let's see how smooth we are kept in the lane actually. See here so far, no hectic steering movements, very smooth. There's also blind spot monitor. At the moment no one is overtaking us, but there's like a blinking then in the side mirrors. Now already complains, unavailable soon, take control of the steering wheel. There we go. So far, and that's also a thing with this vehicle. They get the latest generation of the assistance systems by Toyota. So latest hybrid technology and latest assistance systems. There's the blind spot monitor. When you hit the turning indicator, there's also a flashing of this warning then. And about this hybrid system, the first thing we mentioned to you, so it is more powerful now that you don't get this typical slow feeling. You know, it is still a little bit, yes, and they usually don't put the most powerful engines in these vehicles. That's not what they're best in, but it's definitely a little bit quicker than before. This one here, as the 2-liter hybrid we're driving, goes 7.5 seconds from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour or 62 miles an hour, and that is already quite okay for a car of that size and for this segment, definitely. So at the same time, they say they are more efficient, and at the end of our test drive we'll also try to confirm that. So, and that's the thing, you know, more power yet at the same time more efficiency. How do they actually gain that? A little bit of weight losses. There's lithium-ion battery now being used, and also they reduce the friction inside engine parts, and these are the measures they're trying to achieve that by. So at the moment we're about 5 liters on 1 kilometers, which is a typical Toyota hybrid consumption, and we'll see if we can also keep that up at a later stage when we drove for a little bit further. But considering this is motorway driving here now, which is not the best ideal situation for hybrid, it's more like when you have city traffic that you can make use of some recuperation, that's totally fine. You know, also inside the tunnel, which is usually quite loud, it's staying relatively silent. So I'm not sure about you, Brian, but the Toyotas I have been driving, this one seems to be the most silent one as to like noise insulation. Oh, what's your take?
I'm actually kind of blown away by this car so far. It really delivers a lot more than I expected of it.
A really nice ride, also suspension-wise, you know. So we also had some rougher roads. We are now at like, you know, normal average motorway speed, and the suspension is really doing a good job. So it's smooth, but at the same time it's actually like sporty enough. We're here at the moment at 18-inch wheels, once again in that tunnel here, and they also offer 17-inch wheels for entry-level models. They're a little bit later for European market, but I think the 18 are actually quite fine. The 17 will be a softer ride, but this one is a very good compromise, you know. So, and also the feedback I have from the steering, this is really, I mean, here like some subtle movements are being transported to the road without being exaggerated. So really, really happy with the steering movement. When we soon get off the motorway, we'll also do some more winding corners that you can experience a little bit more about that.
Now that's where I'm really interested to see. That's where this car is going to prove itself or not.
Yeah,
because
it's
two
small,
things that our last driving experience on a Toyota together, do you remember, was in the hills. And
with the Igo X.
There we found some challenges. Well, the famous distinctive Toyota whine you get when you're going up a hill. I'm really excited to see.
But I always show like a short bit. It was definitely better, than before. But it was just a very short hill,
Until we get it on a big hill with lots of windy corners, we're really not going to get a full sense of that.
See here, like a lane change.
That's nice.
It's nice, like really smooth. Like, let's change it back.
Really nice.
It feels actually like almost kind of sporty. We also have the drive modes here. There's the power drive mode as well. Oh, that changes like eco, normal. That was the side of the road. Yeah, the power mode, but let's see if the steering changes. Power mode, eco. Nah, not really. So it's more about the throttle input, that from a power mode we have more reaction than the throttle pedal. That's fast. Yeah, always the Germans, right? In the Audis. We are the non-Germans today. So like this automatic thing. I'm not sure if you're like if you're from Spain, maybe it would drive me nuts. So that is something I really appreciate about German Autobahn, the German motorways. That, I mean, we pay our taxes, and we pay a lot of taxes in Germany. At least we can use the motorways then for free. So 30 kilometers an hour. Let's bump. Oh, it's good suspension test. Feels quite smooth as well, right? So now 40 kilometers an hour. Let's go uphill. 60, 90. That's okay. That's really okay. I mean, it is not a super fast car. That's not how it's supposed to be.
You know what, Thomas? I'm going to say something really shocking and controversial now.
Yes.
If you blindfolded me and you blocked my ears, and that bit's important, I could almost think I was driving in a BMW.
Really?
The characteristic, the quality of the experience too. The seats are really good.
I think that might be the last time I could send Brian to a BMW event. if BMW guys are watching this.
I did say you got to lose the sound, and I think that's quite an important component of the car.
Yeah.
But the drive is really good in this car.
Yeah, it's really, really nice. And so you definitely have less of this annoying, like the stretching, feeling like it really feels so much more refined. So yeah, I'm really a fan of this new 5th generation powertrain of the hybrids. There will also be a natural aspirated engine for the US guys available. So basically this engine without the hybrid, that will be lower in the entry price and so on. But also this one, of course, profits a little bit from the upgrades this car is experiencing without the hybrid thing, of course. Then let's go back to the normal. I mean, the driving modes, they are nice visualized here in the cockpit, but don't play too much of a role. But also on the motorway, we're going down a little bit. I'm in the EV mode, so at the moment the combustion engine is shut off. And then I have some more buffer boost once again when I'm going uphill now. This will play more effect, of course, in the city, because in the city, like this starting from zero, takes so much fuel usually that when you get this small EV kick, it does save a lot of fuel. But even here on the motorway, at least it does something when you have some topography changes. When you don't have that, it doesn't play such a big role actually. So yeah, that is so really, really positive impression here on the motorway. Yet, both from Brian and me. The question is now, how can it perform when we go a little bit sportier in winding roads and more up and down? Let's find out. So now I'll put it once again to the power mode. Go Power Rangers. And let's see. Yeah, of course you get something of that sound, but it does disappear way quicker. Let's see, we go in these nice winding roads here now. Steering feel is actually quite good. It is light, definitely. I mean, the power mode could have used some, let's say, it's now a little bit off-road. That's also good for test suspension. So I think the power mode could have used some steering adjustment. That's definitely good. so that you have a little bit more feedback. But in general, I think the steering is really nice, you know. So, well, and it is a crossover SUV, so some soft off-roading can't be bad. Here's some, well, there are some bumps, but the suspension is doing a really good job still, you know. I need to drive a little bit slower here now. I mean, that can be, depending on the market, also be very relevant. And the good thing is, this is smaller than the RAV4, so this is also an advantage that when it gets narrower like this, and you have some passages, I mean, this was totally unexpected now. The GPS didn't show it. It's doing a great job. So this is the front-wheel drive version of the hybrid. There will also be the all-wheel drive version. Then you have an electric motor in the rear. So if this is relevant to you and you have more of these off-road situations, that could be something. The acceleration figure does not really differ. It's like 0.1 seconds that the all-wheel drive is quicker. But here, now uphill again, it's really excellent. So I really have to say, from the whole drivetrain, from the noise insulation, from how the car handles, I mean, leaving aside like special versions, like, you know, like a Toyota Supra or something, which has these BMW genes, you know, as a sports car. But let's say, talking normal cars or SUVs at Toyota, I think this is easily the best Toyota I have ever driven. And yeah, Brian is just nodding. So, because it does everything very, very well and smooth. It is fun, it is comfortable, it gives you almost kind of serenity, although it's not the biggest car, you know, while driving.
But it's still a Toyota.
Yeah.
You know, at the end of the day, a lot of the time when you buy a Toyota, you have to kind of shrug your shoulders and make your peace with it and say, but at least I got a great car out of it.
Yeah.
I just have to live with it. I don't think you have to live with this at all. I think you get this
really
car and you
nice.
say, great, this is actually exactly what I want.
Yeah. Now, winding roads again, tarmac. Yeah, maybe a little bit more feedback from the steering wheel, but that's just a feeling thing. But, you know, the thing is, it is kind of precise, and it also reacts on short movements without exaggerating. So they also got a quite good steering feel here over these bumps. Even if I go over them in a little bit faster way, it doesn't, you know, crush our lower back or something. I would maybe stick with the base version of the car to get fabric seats. That these will be available in Europe, already available in the US. If you want it more breathable, you know, it's breathable, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's breathable. Yeah. This just is better for a hot climate, I would say. I can just stress again, it handles very well. It doesn't shake up too much. The steering is also fine. So from the whole driving characteristic, yeah, I mean, this typical, you know, there is no gearing, you know, feeling. It is still somewhat there, but definitely less than before. So it's not a big issue then, and it's also not lacking power. I mean, we're going uphill, and it's defo not lacking power, you know. So, and yes, now the consumption went up a little, but as long as we were keeping it straight. So even motorway is some 5 liters on 1 kilometers, and that can be less when you have some city driving only and really make use of this hybrid drivetrain. And this can be very dangerous to a lot of the competitors. And we were still debating, is it, I think it can already be compared to a Mazda CX-5, and maybe already to a VW T-Roc or a T-Roc, Honda HR-V or CR-V. It is somewhat in between, and therefore can be dangerous for all of them, I guess.
I think so too, and I think it's a really well-positioned offering, because there's definitely something within the market that says, I want a little bigger but not that bigger. And I think Mazda have proved with the 5 just how popular that vehicle is.
Yeah.
This brings something genuinely new into that segment, and I really think you have to give it to Toyota. This to me is knocked it out of the park. The only thing, obviously, always is the fly in the ointment is, will the pricing match within the segment?
Yeah, that's the thing, and that's the big difference indeed. Here in Europe, they start selling it as a high spec. In the US, you can also get a low spec, low price, or some kiddies. but also European market will get some cheaper versions later on. But yeah, you have to see if the price does match for you.
The first thing that happens when you have children is that everyone and their dog tells you you're going to need everything to be bigger, because these creatures are going to turn up and destroy your life, make mess everywhere, and take up all of your room. Well, one of those statements is true, and it's the one about the space. But you don't need to have a bus just because you've got kids. And that's the first thing I really love about this car. Yes, you need more room. No, you don't have to have a caravan towing behind you with all of their equipment in. This car is a really great compromise between still very definitely feeling like a smaller SUV, but providing you with more than enough space than you're ever going to need for your children and their friends and their equipment, provided you're good at managing yourself and your family. Now, not only that, but Toyota is an incredibly practical brand. So yes, soft plastic, hard plastic, 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 plastic. But you know what? That means it's really easy to keep, maintain and care for. And easy to clean, and that's important. But that is all about owning this vehicle as a family. Now, I just want to make sure you're clear, it's not all Toyota fanboy stuff over here. And Toyota don't get everything right. Look at this. So that's hardly a 90-degree door open. And given that your children are going to be opening and abusing this door 1,000 times every day, I think they could have done a slightly better job. You know who did do a slightly better job? The Mazda CX-5. And let's be honest, most of the time you're going to be driving any vehicle you bought for family use is just going to be you all by yourself, more likely than not, taking 4,000 trips every single week to the supermarket. So how does it perform on that basis? Well, this is where I really love this car. It takes all of the best features of the RAV4 and it shrinks them down, making them more fun, more practical, and just better. My next door neighbour has a RAV4 and it's never made me smile ever since he got it. It's not that it's bad, it's excellent for all the reasons that it's so popular. It's just a bit, you know, it's not going to put a smile on your face. This keeps all of the best features of the RAV4 and improves on all of them, including the drive. So the only reason to get a RAV4, and this is what I'm saying to you, is if you really convince yourself you absolutely have to have the space. Well, I've got 3 kids. I know that, and a dog, because I count them every day. And I'm here to tell you, you don't need the space. You can make it work. And this car is going to keep you smiling when they're not in it as much as it will when they are. So, I hope you're going to enjoy this as much as I've enjoyed driving this, but please let us know.
You asked me to drive the all-new generation of the Kia Sportage. Well, here we go. Let's go. So how good is it now and can it reach the top of this segment? We'll find out together. Thomas and Autogefühl. And thanks to the Heinen dealership in Germany for supplying the vehicle for us. Check it out if you want to buy one. Then you can see here the all-new generation, a strong front. Here this very sporty grille. Here even sportier because this is the GT line. And we also have the silver contrast here in the lower part and the sporty look right here. And of course you see it directly here. These daytime running lights, this blade, so to speak. Wow, that looks really impressive. So big change here for the new generation, also with this new Kia logo. LED is standard for the main headlamp unit. Matrix LED is an option. Now even more interesting, so everything I'm telling you today basically counts for all the new Sportage versions worldwide. However, there's one difference. So this one here, built in Slovakia for the European market with the short wheelbase. At 4 meters 51 or 178 inches. Then there's also long wheelbase available that is built in Korea or also for the US market in Georgia for the new generation. That's very interesting. A little bit longer wheelbase and overall 15 centimeters or 5 inches longer. So it's not the biggest difference. But here also that rear window graphic will look a little bit different. But from the front here, that area, all the same actually. The GT line would usually come already with 19-inch wheels, however here 18-inch winter tires mounted. And also in the GT line we have here the painted wheel arches in black then, which is still a contrast here to this very dark grey color we have for you here today. Then also the contrasting mirrors and still a chrome trim in the lower part, then the black one in the upper part. That's a very interesting design combination. And then you have this, you know, braking design line. They did that intentionally on purpose. But I think clean design is a more beautiful design, so not a fan of this feature here. Are you? There's also a unique new rear design. The light strip does not go through, although it looks like it at first when it's not illuminated, but you can see here also pretty cool with the tail lamps right there. And also a contrasting part here, diffuser style kinda, maybe like soft off-road style or something. No fake exhaust, that's actually quite good. So a very clean and interesting design in the rear. And what's also interesting is suspension-wise, either base or here with the GT line, you automatically get the electronically controlled suspension, ECS. We will test it today. I'm really looking forward to it. Khaki, classic, but good quality. And here the controls at the sides, like that. Then press it here for the keyless entry and door closing sound. Okay, but have heard it better. Yeah, and beep, beep, beep. That's of course, you know, key is not in the vehicle, ignition is on, and so on and so on. Then inside here of the doors is, yeah, somewhat soft touch, so that's actually good. Then a lot of high gloss piano lacquer is being used. We don't like it that much actually. But then here, the GT line also gets a microfiber at the inside of the doors. That's actually quite fancy. And then this completely new cockpit layout here with that sporty steering wheel style. Hey, and we still have real buttons at the steering wheel. Left for the volume, for example, right then to control the cruise control. Seats come fabric as base, or then here in the GT line, they come with the animal-free leatherette on the inside. And then here at the side parts, there's microfiber. Maybe it would have been clever to also have microfiber in the middle part, however, for more breathability. But this is also, you know, a cool way here, GT line. So overall, pretty nice looking seats. But are they also comfortable? Yes, indeed. So makes a very good impression so far. So getting along with it, 1.86 m or 6'1". This is the headroom I still have left, although this one is here, the one with the panoramic roof. You can also open that one, ignition on, then you can open it and it goes quite far. And also has a cover actually, so a shade that is, you know, you can block out the sun a little bit more. And also steering goes out, up, down, so manual way, but very good to adjust. The all-new interior in the overview, really interesting. First of all, soft touch dashboard here, and then 2x 12.3-inch screens. That looks impressive, definitely, but I freshly cleaned that for you, otherwise fingerprints all over the place. And also here, this lower unit, we will take a closer look at that very soon. Steering wheel view once again. Here you switch through the digital instruments on the right side, lane keeping assist on the left side. Then that's, you know, the volume control I would rather use, and press it here for muting it or then playing it back again. Digital instruments are clear to read. Mild hybrid system would be, you know, visually available right here, but still consumption around 9 liters on 100 kilometers, so barely some 30 mpg. That's not as good as expected. Here the driving modes also switch then these visualizations. That's actually quite fancy. And GPS wise, you can have some basic information there, but of course only when you have the car internal GPS. Central infotainment system here with a quite easy menu actually. Let's take a look here at the map. So this is then the inbuilt GPS, and I still don't get this grappling hook effect they're using. There are worse maps, but there are definitely better map software. I think that's clear, so rather I would use the Apple CarPlay or Android Auto map for that. Other than that, here for example, to switch to the radio here for example, so that's possible, or then here to media when you have connected it with Bluetooth. At this moment I have connected this with Bluetooth, soon more to that why. Here first of all, optional Harman Kardon sound system. Very crystal clear sound. However, as for the surround sound, I would prefer it to come a little bit more from the back actually. But then let's finish up this, you know, this menu here. So not too much you can do with it. There's also a digital climate menu available, but usually you would all do that from below. This is what I mean. It's actually quite well done. Still, we have manual climate dials. I love to have that. That's so cool. Then they have this dual effect. So this is kind of like the climate menu, but you can switch it then to the GPS. Maybe have some hotkeys like map and so here, but and this one here then becomes the volume jog. However, since we have one at the steering wheel, I would rather leave it then here with a climate unit and to be able to control that here then all the time. Lower middle console, let's open this, and yeah, I mean, a lot of black piano lacquer. Can't there be something else? And then when you open this one, and today I cannot show the Apple CarPlay or Android Auto because Look at that nice cable here, which has like this, you know, iPhone, USB-C, USB Classic. But when I put in this one and connect the iPhone, it says cable not supported. So it does not support these third-party cables. I often had it now in Hyundai or Kia vehicles, and yeah, do I have to always carry original Apple cables, super expensive, with me now all the time? That is really weird, isn't it? Then inductive charging pad also in the lower part. Here this area with a nice shifting lever for this new dual clutch transmission, reverse and drive mode, that's it. And here, very cool, heated seats, cooled seats. There's also nice, a leatherette seat that can be cooled, also nice to have that. And also here then heated steering wheel, great to have just individual buttons for these important functions. And then we have the drive mode selector here, for example for sport mode or the eco mode. And there's even, you know, here there's like a mid differential lock available. Oh, off-roading, also hill descent control, so also somewhat off-road capable. And then we have either this open area or here then, yeah, cup holders. Oh, from the studio episode, they have been, you know, slowed down a little bit, but still they are really fast, like bam, there we go. And then we have this leatherette armrest. Let's see how, that's a little bit cheaply attached. But then, you know, for all your clutter, you have enough space. And the resolution is actually not too bad. Here I also have in this highest spec the fake drone view from above. Rear seats here, hard pack at the inside of the doors, but cool door handle design. And then here, when the seat is to the position I would be driving, I exactly fit in here. Also headroom wise, would be a little more headroom without the panoramic roof, but overall offering of space is okay. Also interesting, integrated jacket hanger here at the back part of this head restraint. So actually a cool idea. And seating position is good here also in the rear. You can also adjust this back part here a little bit more to the lying back position, more upright. And that's also easily done. Middle tunnel is somewhat present in the middle part. You can also sit, it's actually quite soft and plush, so you can use this vehicle here with 5 tall adults, that's possible. The middle part here, cup holders, but they are not adaptive. Oh, an interesting detail here, 2 USB-C chargers integrated here in the seat. And before I said, is Thomas absolutely insane? He shows 1, but he says 2, 1 and 2. There we go. I really like this feature that when you have the key just in your pocket and the car is closed and you approach it, peep, 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 you have to wait a little bit, and then without doing anything, the hatch opens. There's only one problem, that when you go past the vehicle and you really have parked close to a wall or something, then you have to just, disappear quickly or hold it tight manually. Let's check out the trunk. Trunk area, you can get this rugged rubber pad here, but of course you do not have to get it. The width is about 1 meter or 40 inches and the length is around 80 centimeters or 31 inches. The overall height, really to the very top, is 75 centimeters or 29 inches. And then you can fold the seats from here. That's actually easily done. So left and right, and they directly fold flat. That's actually pretty cool. So good organization of that. And then to the front seats, as I would be driving, is 1 meter 65 or 65 inches. What about the child safety test? Yeah, I think that's feasible. Engines, 4-cylinder and front-wheel drive or all-wheel drive on demand, either 1.6 liter diesel or 1.6 liter turbo petrol engine, here with mild hybrid technology. There's also an inbuilt hybrid technology available or a plug-in hybrid, and all basically based on the same engine. And for the US market, there will be a 2.5 liter natural aspirated engine, a bigger one. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with the Kia Sportage all-new generation. Here the 1.6 turbo petrol engine, 180 horsepower, all-wheel drive, 7-speed dual clutch transmission. This one with MHEV, mild hybrid technology, so not the inbuilt hybrid, not the plug-in hybrid, the most, classic one so far. Here we do have a sport mode. When we go into the sport mode, here instruments change. And let's go from, now I have this car pass, so it's safer for everyone. Then 40 kilometers an hour to, let's see, let's go. $100. $150. quite smooth. Lane change here, high speed, 170. Suspension is now a little bit stiffer. And now wind noise is picking up. But it's not too loud. Here now at 180 kilometers an hour. That's like close to top speed. A little bit more. Still well to control here. The ECS, electronically controlled suspension, is helping me. It's a little bit stiffer now. Yeah, closer to 190 kilometers an hour. Now we have to cancel. Still well to control on the brakes. Could be maybe a little bit power, but well to control. Yeah, and back here to 80 kilometers an hour. So that's fine overall. The steering input here is quite direct, but could be maybe a little bit more natural, so to speak. Here we can also activate or deactivate the lane keeping assist, this active lane keeping assist. What I really feel is here the electronically controlled suspension does a good job. Finally, adaptive suspension in here for a Kia or Hyundai model, not available for all the models. And when you, for example, go back to the normal mode, you really feel that it's smoother in the ride over some bumps, and in the sport mode you have a little bit more control. But then maybe also here on camera, I don't know, when I'm going like over some, some bumps in the road and so on, it's really like getting rougher. And once again here in the tunnel you can see it's a little bit illuminated here, there and there, and then you can see how it changes here, normal mode, driving, eco mode, normal, sport. So yeah, it's actually a nice feature. And we also have the digital speed then in the middle. What was also interesting, this being the all-wheel drive model, we have these gauges here that show the distribution. So when I'm just like, rather static, then actually just front-wheel drive. It's a front-wheel driven platform, but when I accelerate a little bit more, then also power to the rear wheels a little bit here. And it really depends. Here, let's check out normal mode, most for the front wheels, but now sport mode. Let's see if that changes actually. Yeah, indeed. So in the sport mode, you see that directly more power is being transported to the rear wheels. At least that's what I have an impression. Let's try that one more time. Normal mode here. Yeah, that really seems to be the case. So, and that also makes sense. We quite often see that in sport mode, more power to the rear wheels. It will still have front wheel bias, but then at least you get a little bit more power. Here, especially in normal mode, steering wheel could be giving you a little bit more feedback, I think. So in the sport mode, that's a little bit better. Here, I think it's too light. That's rather than focused on that you are able to park in and out, a little bit easier and so on. But that suspension, really happy with that. So that's probably the best about this new generation. So big improvement with the suspension. And when you ask yourself, shall I go for this adaptive suspension? I would say yes. It improves both comfort and sportiness on demand and at the same time. Here, by the way, turning left or right, you can see that these camera images appear. Then there's another blind spot. Or hit the turning indicator in the wrong direction. Did the police see that? I think they have better business to attend to. So once again here left, and then I see the camera image on the left side. There's also the blind spot monitor in the side mirrors, but this is like a good addition that you can also see that as an additional warning, because we know blind spot accidents are quite frequent still, and glad that we have these warners. Put it here to the sport mode one more time. Yeah, in the sport mode I have a little bit more feedback from that steering wheel. Normal, it's just too vague actually. Better in the sport mode, but still very light. And steering doesn't give me a direct control like driver, steering and road. So that is not that present. It's not super bad or something. It's just that you don't have like this natural connection, so to speak. But once again, especially in the sport mode, the suspension also gets a little bit stiffer, but without getting super uncomfortable. But the normal mode, I think the suspension is the best, because it still doesn't shake up too much, but it's really comfortable. And suspension wise, probably the best Kia suspension we had so far. And we often said that, hey, Hyundai, Kia and also Genesis, this great, this great, this good. But suspension-wise, they lag a little bit behind. Here it's not the case. Absolutely on top with the competition, or maybe even better than some of the competitors. So top-notch suspension here in this case, really. Yeah, that's also one of the key findings for today. So really good to go for this ECS, which is again standard in this GT line we have here today. One more time, acceleration. Let's go to the sports mode when we are already at speed. Here from 85 kilometers an hour. Let's go. 130 and 150. That should be enough for now, because I also want to test with the noise. Let's go back to the normal mode. Here at 150 kilometers an hour, some wind noises definitely. Overall noise insulation has been improved. And let's see what would be a very good highway speed. Yeah, I think you're 125, something about that. Yeah, like 70 miles an hour, 120. I would have expected a little bit more improvement as for the noise insulation, so that could be better. Here now, when I have set the cruise control and also with the active steering, let's see, now it picked up, yeah. So now I can increase speed here. Good that we still have real buttons at the steering wheel, so that's easy to control while driving. And now I keep my hands on the steering wheel. Yes, it's already warning me. And now let's see, the motorway goes in a slight bend. What is this car doing? Is it smooth, how it keeps me in the lane? Let's see about that. So it is notable, yes, but so far quite smooth. Earlier I went into a construction lane and that was actually not that well done, so car didn't catch up with that. But here when we have like very clear lines, it's actually no problem, and that can also you know, be quite good. But yeah, as for the wind noises, it's not too windy outside today, but I feel wind noise, so noise insulation wise, they could have done a little bit better. Obviously they didn't pay too much attention to that. Maybe just paid it just all the attention to the suspension then. But nevertheless, it's actually a nice ride. If you compare the driving to the previous generation, so the chassis feels a little bit stiffer, so better in handling. And of course, you somehow get a different impression because here of this, you know, of this dual screen, but yeah, you gotta clean it all the time as well. But driving wise, it doesn't feel that it would have been like the, you know, like the biggest step ever from generation to generation. So I would say if you really like, you know, the new digital gauges or so, and that would be super important to you, then it might be a big step. But if you're now driving the previous generation Sportage and ask yourself, do I really need to sell my current one and need to get the new generation? I think the previous generation was also fine, you know? So sometimes there are new generations where we say like, oh my God, this is so much better. This really, you know, like the previous generation looks kind of like, you know, bad in comparison to that. But here, yeah, I think the previous generation will be just fine. There's a slight improvement in driving, definitely, but not the huge one, especially when you compare like normal suspension. But biggest difference, once again, suspension. And when you say, yeah, so far not too much comfort, then get one with the ECS and you will be just fine. Here the GT line is also a nice pick with these leatherette Alcantara mix seats, so this also will be quite good. By the way, also once again good with the buttons here, you can also deactivate the active lane keeping assist at any time just with the press of a button, and I really like that, you know. And also that we are able to control the climate unit here while driving like this here, just with a manual way. I really like that. I rather not change to the GPS hotkeys here. I rather leave it here on the climate menu that I can see everything there. But I really think that is, you know, once again confirmed here in the driving part, they found this right user interface mix. I still have the screen, yes, with the known problems with non-working third-party cables, as I mentioned earlier. But then again, I do have the real buttons, and here when I want a heated steering wheel, I just press one button and that's it, and I can concentrate on driving still. And that's really, really good. So once again, suspension is the one I like best. Steering could be a little bit better, noise insulation could be a little bit better. Definitely improvement if you compare the previous generation. Overall, if you compare to competitors, they are doing a lot of things very, very well here with the all-new Sportage. So definitely one of the hot competitors here in this compact to mid-size SUV segment. Size always depending on the definition, which country you're from. Well, now it's official. One of the first manufacturers skips #capacitive BS buttons and goes back to the real thing, real climate knobs and more. Well, and we found that in the all-new Honda HR-V. Can it be one of the best city SUVs? Let's find out. You have tuned into Autogefühl with Thomas. Please subscribe if you haven't done so far. And thanks also to the Heinen dealership for supplying us the vehicle. Here, the all-new HR-V. Look at that, what a strong and cool look here. I mean, it's a small SUV, but here very bold horizontal fins, Honda logo, and then really slim and wide daytime running lights. So I think they really nailed it here with the styling. Or what's your take? Tell me in the comments. Main headlamp unit below, also full LED. And the turning indicators cascading. Look at that. Pretty fancy, isn't it? The length at 4.34 m or 171 inches, hardly longer than before, but it now has this kind of SUV coupe shape here, so definitely a sporty look. And I think also in the side profile, it's a simple design, but it just works, doesn't it? 18-inch wheels here, also pretty massive. Black is the design scheme for today. So overall, I think maybe they really nailed it. Just have to repeat it design-wise. And I mean, the HR-V isn't famous for being like the design vehicle. I mean, there were generations which were very unique, but this one here, probably the most sporty one. Here, by the way, the rear doors are attached right here, so you have the handle right here. This is also good for the integration that you don't have additional door handles here. Also here in the rear, a very clean design. Here the silver contrast and no fake exhaust at all. And then a beautiful light signature goes all the way across. Also modern signature here. It does remind me of a special vehicle I've seen before though. I don't remember quite now, but maybe you help me out in the comments and then, then maybe I remember. Thank you so much for that already in advance. And by the way, especially here from the rear, you can see that it does have some ground clearance. I mean, it is somewhat off-road capable. In this generation, they even improved the ground clearance by 10 millimeters. Not that much, but you still see you can have something underneath that. Turning indicators here in the rear, by the way, not that fancy as we've seen in the front. And here, the eHEV badge. What do they mean by eHEV actually? That's a special hybrid system, but what is it? Depending on the market, there comes a 1.5-liter petrol engine, or especially for Europe, the 1.5S hybrid with a very interesting technology. So it either runs pure petrol at higher speeds, motorway or something, or pure electric at lower speeds, or the engine, combustion engine, runs as a generator, but it drives on electric. So really depending on the drive situation, does that work? We'll find out. Car key, simple and small, does the job. Door closing sound. Not too bad. Inside of the door here on the top part is somewhat soft, yes, even softer than here for your elbow. High gloss piano lacquer. This of course not that premium alike, but that's also not the approach of this vehicle. But the door handle here from the inside is actually quite nice. Total fresh design for the interior. The steering wheel looks really sporty, right? And also real buttons at the steering wheel. Left side to control some of the digital instruments, for example, and volume. Right side then for the cruise control. Yay, and real handles here for this vent, and also with clicking sounds. Awesome. Seats either come with pure fabric as a base version, or then here fabric inside, leather outside, animal free, either here in this rather subtle black trim, but there's also a very nice bright or beige or white, however you want to call it, oyster maybe trim available, fabric inside, outside then this beige leather red, that looks really cool, right? This one here, however, has the bright ceiling. This also brings some light in the interior. Seating in the front is fairly comfortable. 1.86 or 6'1", still some headroom left. The car is small, but it offers ample of space. Steering wheel control, up and down, in and out, both is possible. Sounds a little bit weird sometimes, but I mean, yeah, we can easily live with that. So far, good comfort. Maybe the seats could be a little bit wider for tall people. That's maybe it. But overall, I mean, it will even get better in the rear very soon when you talk about the relation of length and space. You'll see. Interior overview, clean and great user interface. You do have this touchscreen, 9-inch, but then here these manual dials. I just love them. Steering wheel, good size, great to handle indeed. And here, this horizontal stress. Do you see that? Also a separate button here for the heated steering wheel at the steering wheel column. To me, I really want these features to be able to control the car while driving. And now I want you to watch closely. Do you see that? That small arrow there? That's an analog arrow. I'm not sure if you can really see that. But on the right side, it's different than from the left side, because here, the left side is a screen. The right side is analog, so it's a mix, you know? So, yeah, it's kind of deceiving. So, on the right side, you have the speed, and it's kind of like backlit, but not the screen. And from here, there the screen begins, 7-inch, to the left side, and then you can actually change the contents on the left side, for example, as for, you know, fuel economy. That can be a little bit better, by the way. Soon more telling you about that. Here, power flow, for example, power in charge, and so on. Then this main infotainment screen, they promised half of the operating time, and you see, it's really quicker than before. You know, that looks quite good. There is also a car internal GPS available. However, let's see, it's not the best one, it's not the worst one. I would say something in between. Most of the time probably people will use their smartphone connection. It's good that we still have a home button and also a back button and still a volume button here, and even for skipping music. So I think this, once again, a good combination. You do have that touchscreen and you do have your Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, but still you have the real dials. And the Apple CarPlay integration looks like this, goes all the way over the screen. And what's quite amazing is that the sound system of this vehicle here, although it's not like the high price segment, is really good. It sounds really amazing. I wonder about that. This is, by the way, also one of my favorite songs of all time. It has everything, like, you know, dream, a little bit of sorrow, but also a lot of hope and eternity. Rear view camera though is not such a good quality. Yes, and here we go. My favorite feature of this vehicle. Listen to that. Yes, and even the ring around it, do you see? Turns red or cold or blue for cold. This is awesome, you know. No, we actually shouldn't buy Audi and BMW Mercedes. We should buy Honda now for premium AC units. Who would have thought that a couple of years ago? Clicking sound also for the seat heating. This is just great. And even here, these are great clicking sounds. I'm really amazed by that. Lower middle console, USB charger is here, connector is here. Then here the big shifting, you can put it to the B mode. That's then the recuperation mode. So we'll talk about more that when we drive the car. Here in front for your smartphone, 12-volt power supply. And we have a drive mode selector right here, and also electric handbrake. Cup holders, nice. Also really adaptive. And armrest here, plush. Not that well attached though, but then you have some space underneath. Remember, this is a small SUV. Headroom with 1.86 or 6'1", still some left, although it has this sportier shape now. And come on, really? Legroom? Well, this is like a luxury sedan, over 5 meters and over 200 inches. That's astonishing. Wow. And I mean, this makes it really segment leading. As for, you know, this ratio between exterior length and the space you have on the inside. The middle seat here is, yeah, not really suitable, I would say, rather sitting on the outside. but on the outside it's really soft and comfortable, so I really like these seats indeed. And here the middle part, when we fold down, not adaptive though, and this just folds down like this, so yeah, that's not my favorite part. But my absolute favorite features are the magic seats. They still come with the HRV. You fold this up like this, you put this one down, and then you attach it like here, and then you can transport a plant or something else bulky. This is just amazing, isn't it? And I mean, you can also do some real fun stuff then with that vehicle. You can fold the other part here as well, like this, and then you can basically walk through the rear. Well, let's take a look at the trunk. Here now also an electric hatch. And here we go, there is this rugged rubber cover available from the accessory part, but you don't have to go for it. Width here, easily 1 meter or 40 inches. Here in the front part, even a little bit more than here. There's exactly 1 meter or 40 inches. And the length is 70 centimeters or 27 inches. And the total height here in the trunk is 75 centimeters or 29, about 30 inches. So overall well usable, considering it's a small SUV, and you can reach over here, then just fold it flat, and it really goes all the way flat. And then you can see the length here to the seats is 1 meter 65 or 65 inches. Once again, this car is so well usable. Now I removed everything, also the special cover, to show you how flat these seats fold. Look at that. That's really awesome, isn't it? Welcome to Thomas's driving lounge with the Honda HR-V in this new generation. And well, it's far from being a performance vehicle, but being in our test, it has to face the German Autobahn. So we'll wait for a safe passage on the motorway, start from 40 kilometers an hour, and see how this hybrid goes. Let's go. $100. What the hell? Interesting. Yeah, switching the lanes. Let's try once again from 90 then. $130, $140, $150. You heard that CVT like, and now we're at 145, 154. Sorry, yeah. In German it's always the other way around. 154 kilometers an hour. That's it. Of course, it's quite noisy here also at higher speeds, but not as noisy as expected actually. And now let's go back to a reasonable motorway speed, like, you know, let's say like 120 kilometers an hour, 70 miles an hour, and here it's actually fairly comfortable. Suspension also doesn't shake up too much. Steering wheel is actually quite direct. Brakes now, yeah, they're nice. You feel the car doesn't weigh too much, so that's actually a good thing. And overall, I mean, you have this upright seating position. Not too bad as for the motorway performance, I have to say. And I mean, you don't have most fun with this drivetrain, of course, acceleration-wise and so on. But still, just did the test now to be, you know, just curious about the features of the vehicle. But the main feature here is, of course, that you have low fuel consumption. So even with motorway included, you can easily score some 5 liters on 1 kilometer, so let's say like 50 mpg US, more than 50 mpg UK. It's of course decent, and if you have more city track and so on, use more of this electric drive, even better. So even better results are possible. I had that also earlier. That's of course pretty cool. So the system is somewhat complicated, yes, but consumption-wise, it does work. So when we're here at higher speeds, motorway and so on, the wheels are directly powered by the combustion engine. That's of course also the most efficient thing to do. And of course you can also get the non-hybrid version depending on the market. In Germany, for example, we can only get the hybrid. But in US, for example, you will also get the pure combustion engine version. And so far so good, you don't hear it too much actually. And here going, some slalom, it feels actually quite nice and sporty considering it's still an SUV. But then again, you have this more upright seating position, which is again better for long-term comfort travel. Just the head restraints, they are a little bit stiff actually when you lean onto them. Other than that, the seats are actually quite plush. That's okay. So now getting off the motorway, and when I'm off the gas, directly in the pure EV mode again, I'm also gaining back energy. I can either do recuperation with the brake pedal, or I put in here the shifting lever to B mode, and then when I'm off throttle, you have direct recuperation. That is, let's say, easier solution when you're going downhill from a steep mountain for a longer time and you don't have to be on the brake all the time. You put in the B mode, and this is then a helpful thing to have, definitely. But you can adjust in the way you want to drive it. I mean, you could also put in the B mode when you say, I like a little bit more engine brake, or I like a little bit more recuperation, or this kind of EV feeling. So, but you can vary it, depending on. Let's go with the B mode here, just a little bit more. Now combustion engine is on because I hit the throttle a little bit harder. Now again, just the EV mode. Switches all the time, combustion engine. And of course, in between, sometimes the engine is running, but it's not powering directly the wheels, but then serving as a generator. So the three modes, and it's always switching back and forth in between that. You can see that here on the gauges, but it would be too dangerous to watch that all the time. Now here in the B mode. Will I have to use the brakes? Let's see. No. Okay, I have to use the brakes. Not taking the chances here. Yeah. So, rather put it here on, like the range or fuel meter or something, and not really watch what's going on right there. Definitely cool thing. I mentioned that in the interior view. While I'm driving, controlling. Yes, the vent strength and the temperature and the vents here, how I want to have them. It's so awesome that they went back here with the manual climate dials. That's just so cool, And we really need to have Honda, obviously, to go back to these. I hope other manufacturers also will think about this and go back. I really like the steering wheel. So the steering itself, told you about that. It was quite nice, but the steering wheel itself is quite slim, has a good grip. So it's not the sportiest vehicle, but considering, chassis-wise, it feels really good, and there's a big difference to the previous generation. And also that steering wheel form, basically, because it's so sporty. I feel they've really made this generation sportier. Yes, it's not primarily for driving fun, more practicability and so on. But definitely it is sportier than before, no doubt about that. So definitely more driving fun now. And I also feel, the Jazz is the small vehicle, which is kind of, the technological brother or something. But I feel the HR-V is somehow more fun to drive. I don't know, I'm not sure why that is, but it's just the case. So my initial question was also, the city SUV, it's really tough, like power-wise, engine-wise, it's not so much fun. We already could expect that, but driving fun-wise, it's actually quite decent. And once again, this great practicability, and then also the good user interface. This is really something, So let's go to speed one more time, see how it behaves here in fast. It's not that slow though, so I don't feel that on the motorway I don't have enough power or something. It's quite okay, even when you do some overtaking maneuvers, blind spot mode and side mirrors, now it gets really loud. From the sound from the engine, and of course also wind noise, but still not feeling bad at all here on the motorway. One more fast lane change. doesn't shake up too much. I have a very good feeling for that vehicle, definitely. Here the bigger wheels in this case also help. Yet again, suspension, which sometimes was for Honda a little bit bumpy, especially when there was some bumps in the road. Here also a good compromise, although it's not the smallest wheel size. Actually, I'm quite happy with the suspension here today. I think they found a good compromise. It's not too soft. Yet again, it delivers you enough dampening comfort. So, and I mean really about driving fun. Shall we try some more winding corners and then see about that? Let's do that. So now really in our winding corners plus bumpy road, suspension is doing that fairly good actually. And here now as combination, see here steering wheel, yeah, really precise. Yeah, that engine here uphill is working definitely, but like chassis wise, steering wise, suspension wise, and fun wise. So besides of that, you know, engine, the car itself is really a lot of fun to drive. It's just again, and also that with the CVT, you have this very spontaneous reaction and so on. But you know, as for the driving agility, this is a lot of fun actually. The front camera has a very good resolution and also different angles actually. Here in this view, for example, is wide angle, but it looks more down, that you can really see what's going on here. So I really have to go down here all the way to the road. And I'm very, very close to the camera here, by the way. So probably closer than expected, right? The Mazda CX-5 is still a very popular compact SUV, and now it comes as a facelift here with Thomas and Autogefühl. Show you all the details. The front grille has a new design, a little bit more rectangular, stronger, wider, and also with this new structure on the inside here in a special sporty trim, which is very interesting indeed. And also new LED lamps here in the front, optional with a matrix LED, which now also features even more single LEDs. And here we see an interesting comparison here in the front with the chrome, and then also the lower parts a little bit different. Everything in black right here, also the lower bumper and this additional red decor small element on the other side. 4.58 meters or 181 inches is the length of the CX-5. Changes, they did some chassis optimizations and also noise dampening we see in the driving part, if that works. And here it's very interesting, you can see 19-inch wheels, the biggest one available, starts at 17 on both vehicles we have here, but you can see here with painted wheel arches in vehicle color. This one is called Sol Crystal Red, or for example in the German market it's called Magma Red. Magma in the market, yeah. And then here we have black wheels and black painted accentuations around the wheel arches. Gives a more sinister look, also here with the black contrast and the side mirrors. So overall a very nice and sporty look. This one of course even sportier. Which one would you go for actually? In the rear, news here with a new LED signature, so from LED technology and also different signature, pretty modern and cool. And also a new rear bumper, and in this top sports trim is also high gloss black around then here. And the facelift also brings a very interesting new color. This is called Circan Sand, maybe a little bit military camo style or something. It is indeed daring, but yeah, why not? What do you think? Tell me in the comments. As engines, in some markets you still get the 2.2 liter diesel. Other than that, main engines, either the 2 liter petrol engine, 4-cylinder, or the 2.5 liter one. We have it here today, around 200 horsepower. All-wheel drive is also available. And in the US, you also get this one here, turbocharged, then with 50 horsepower more. This is the car key. That is not that premium-like. So, door closing sound. That's actually quite good, and you can see also here how the doors are aligned. It's actually a good build quality. Of course, Mazda does not want to be premium in the first place, but they have increased the build quality over the years massively indeed. You can also see soft touch here, contrast stitches. You have also like a sporty insert right here. And you can see here there's also the sports line on the interior, also with red stitches. Red stitching here on the inside of the steering wheel. Still normal buttons at the steering wheel, that's good. Better than hashtag capacitive BS for sure. As for seats, this is here animal skin in this case, but You can get in the UK, in Germany, a black leatherette that looks almost the same. In the UK, you can also get a beige leatherette, and the base would be just fabric seats anyway. And now with the so-called new ground trim level, not available in all markets, you can also get a microfiber on the inside and leatherette on the outside. That looks pretty spectacular, doesn't it? Getting on the inside, compact SUV style, and you already have an upright seating position. Is a very good, let's say, standard vehicle in a way that you can do a lot with it. It's not too long, it's not too short. Tall people already feel at home, and headroom massive with 1.86 or 6'1". And another short look at this new ground special edition model. It's really interesting. These neon green accentuations, for example, they are also quite daring. Not sure if this is necessary. Also here around the seat, maybe just in grey would have been more suitable for everyone. But the cool thing about this seat here, that the first time we see here a microfiber seat then for the CX-5, and the outside then is also leatherette. So that's of course pretty cool. So a very high class animal free seat. And what about the comfort? Let's see. Yeah, I mean the same base ergonomics, which are actually good, and yeah, the microfiber actually makes it also quite cozy. So I would like this seat, but maybe more in a subtle nuance that, for example, the contrast in grey. That would be really cool. Also, tell me in the comments what you think about this. Straightforward interior, 10.25-inch screen, so more deals with that. Here again, soft touch. This leatherette looks actually quite cool, and we still have manual climate dials. So yeah, the car is somewhat conservative, but there are also good things to be conservative in this case here for cars, also with metal knurling around. Then we have the automatic gearbox, and also there's a new drive selector when you have auto gearbox and all-wheel drive, which we have here. It also now features a special off-road mode, which then, you know, changes something of the stability control and so on. And up there is more towards the so-called sport mode. Inductive charging pad is now new here in the front, actually. And then more to the rear, you control the infotainment system from here, because this is not a touchscreen. Intentionally, they say. Here, adaptive cup holders, they hold the bottles quite tight, and then you also have a soft surface here for the middle storage, and not sure what I thought about that. So there's a cable for the smartphone, but then you cannot really put it here. But then there's this hole that you can have the smartphone here, but then do you put them in the cup holders? Or not sure how they thought about that. Yeah, then there's more space underneath. The front camera has a very good resolution and also different angles actually. Here in this view, for example, is wide angle, but it looks more down, that you can really see what's going on here. So I really have to go down here all the way throughout. And I'm very, very close to the camera here, by the way. So probably closer than expected, right? And then there's a side mirror view, so that you can see that you don't damage your alloys. You can see here, I can fly into the picture with my hand. It looks pretty weird then, right? Because of the wide angle once again, but really helpful definitely here. You can see that you don't damage your wheels. This is all in this 360-degree camera package, and the rear view camera, this is the standard one, you can see has a very good resolution now. And rest of the infotainment, said here, Mazda says no touchscreen due to safety reasons, but they kept it quite simple, so you can also more or less control it then with this thing from below. This is then the map view, for example, actually quite clear, but I mean, like to hover in the map is then not that easy. You do it and also with that lower control stick, for example. Other than that, you also have the Apple CarPlay integration, and then you can, you know, scroll like that. So yeah, it's okay. And this car is also equipped with the Bose sound system, and I have to say, it's quite decent sound indeed. So for music lovers, should go for that one. Instruments, a mix of analog and digital, so the outsides are analog and the inside here, there's a small screen. Then you can see here also when I put the sport mode, it becomes red, and here in the off-road mode, it has more yellowish tone. And you can also get a head-up display, small but useful. If you care about installing child seats, got something for you. Look at that, rear doors almost open 90 degrees. That's really cool, and also build quality wise really good. So look at that, soft touch here on the top part already with leatherette, and even softer here, so good comfort there also for the rear passengers. And you can see here the basic setup. Let's see how much legroom we have actually. So this is the seat as I would be driving, and it comes close indeed. So I do, hit the back part here. So not too much legroom. Headroom, however, is pretty sufficient. Of course, it's not the longest vehicle, but in general, the seating comfort in the rear is actually quite decent. You can also get an electric hatch for the trunk here, now 522 liters, so it gained a couple of liters actually with that facelift. The length is here at 95 centimeters or 37 inches. And the width, let's see, yeah, that's the standard, a good meter or 40 inches, even a little bit more, even in the lower part and even higher than in the upper part. Easy here with that cabin trolley, of course. Underneath here, let's see. We have some more space, so quite spacious trunk indeed. And then we can fold the seats, and that's very interesting. We can do it like this. There's also a single folding just for the ski hatch, and then here we go, the third one. So we have to push it here, and yeah, it seems like they fixed it here. Last time we had the CX-5, it was not that good from a build quality here, but this transition now is a little bit better, definitely. And the overall length to the front seats we're driving is here at 1.65 meters or 65 inches. Interesting, by the way, listen to this. So when you just do the startup, that exhaust here from the 2.5 naturally aspirated engine, it sounds quite kind of sporty, right? With the startup, but when you hit the throttle, yeah, then it doesn't sound that sporty. But in the idle mode, just like this, quite sporty, right? Welcome to Thomas's driving lounge with the Mazda CX-5. It's not a classic vehicle, but a classic model, so to speak. One of their all-rounders and evergreens. And we have it here with a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated engine, the big petrol engine. Here with around 200 horsepower without the turbocharger. In the US, that's also the stronger one with a turbocharger available. We have this new drive mode selector here in the middle part, and we can also go to the sports mode, for example. We have a great road surface here. And let's do one acceleration. We're now at 60 kilometers an hour. We just do a short, in-between sprint from 60 to 80. Plop, that's it. Yeah, and you hear this naturally aspirated engine, really going in the RPMs. Now we have to switch the motorway right here. Now one further, right? Yeah, one further. Yeah, we're around Barcelona here today, and gonna get used. Yeah, it's the first time this year for me actually in Barcelona. We can go back to the normal driving mode right here. It also switches a little bit in the instruments. Sports mode goes red, normal rather has this bright scheme. The CX-5 always good here in the steering, has a very natural steering feeling, so it doesn't feel artificial at all, and it's also very precise. You can see it also here in that corner. They have, for this facelift here, worked on the noise insulation and also a little bit some chassis details and so on. And especially now when we have here a very good road surface, you feel it's really more silent than before. So it is not the most astonishing all-new vehicle whatsoever. It's not all electric yet and so on. But it does everything very well what it's designed to do for. And here, around 80 kilometers an hour, so like 50 miles an hour, it is very, very silent. So as for the noise insulation, feels really sophisticated, and indeed we feel some improvement. Soon we'll also head out to the mountains, have some more winding roads, then we can also check out how it is for the driving agility and so on. Blind spot monitor is here in the side mirrors. It's a good feature, and when you hit the turning indicator, it's also blinking and also gave this acoustic warning. Sorry if I irritated someone now, but yeah, that's for testing purposes definitely. Here once again, let me go to the sport mode one more time. And then, yeah, it's a nice red color we have here. Then we go from 75 kilometers an hour. Let's do another acceleration and let's go. Plop, that's 100. So you see, you can still accelerate on the motorway. It does sound a little bit, that it would be stressed out, That's the thing when you don't have that turbo. Other than that, when you keep it at low RPMs, it's also reasonably silent. That's the thing with the naturally aspirated engines. There's one less thing that can break. There's no turbo, so it cannot break down. But then again, when you really want that power, when you really need it, you have to hammer the throttle and just work with high revs. So you have to go for that. Then you can also get the power out of these engines, definitely. Then lane change here, once again, very good as for the steering feeling. So since you also have the upright seating position, it's still a very good motorway vehicle. And here with the facelift, with the upgraded noise insulation, even a little bit calmer than also on longer journeys. Now some beautiful winding roads. That's the cool thing about Barcelona, by the way. It's of course a very vibrant city, also with a nice beach. But then you can drive out like 10-15 minutes and you're already in the mountains and have really nice routes. So here, let's go to the sport mode once again. Ooh, red background. And we have, we can test some slalom here. You can see once again, natural steering feeling. And the car doesn't lean too much. However, suspension has found a good compromise actually. So it's not too stiff, it's not too soft, delivers you enough comfort without being too soft. I think very good here. Although we also have the big wheels that I've shown you earlier on this vehicle here. It's not that I will say like, you need to have smaller wheels to have sufficient comfort or something. Here when we don't need the acceleration, we can also go to normal mode, just more relaxing to drive. However, if you want more comfort, of course, the smaller wheels will always do a good job because you just have more tire dampening, so to speak. And well, they did some changes here also to, like not structural changes, but some chassis optimization, and also, they have this G vectoring control where in corners they take away some torque and add some torque at the outside of the, at the outgoing of the corner. So little optimizations. Does it feel like a completely different vehicle? No, not at all. Would I realize it when I drive a pre-facelift and a post-facelift that it drives differently? I mean, the noise insulation, yes, you do feel that definitely, but driving agility-wise, maybe it's a little bit better, but it's not that I can really say that it's a huge difference. Well, and our final consumption for the day, around 7.5 liters on 1 kilometers, so that's about 35 mpg US or around 40 mpg UK. Quite okay for a vehicle with that engine then. Is Ascot grey rather grey or white? Well, compared to my trousers. If you want to see more about the VW T-Roc facelift, tune in now, let's go. This is Thomas with Autogefühl. Please subscribe if you haven't done so far. And the VW T-Roc, one of the most popular VW models, will it stay that way with this facelift? Well, here is sportier front, this honeycomb style front grille. This is also the sportier R line, and that also gets the daytime running light, the secondary daytime running light, so to speak, here in the lower part in a vertical way, whereas the style model, for example, would it feature here in this circle around. Then LED is now standard, optional, the so-called IQ light, that's the matrix LED. And turning indicators in the front look like this. The length at 4 meters 25 or 167 inches, so it has grown just a little bit because of the different spoilers in the front and the rear. Wheels from 16 to 19 inch, these here are 17 inch wheels, so this is kind of more a comfortable pick actually. You can of course go more for a visual pick as well. Here the R line comes with that badge right here, and we also have this black package here with the black side mirrors and also a contrasting black roof. Yeah, I mean overall a quite likable and sporty styling, crossover style, golf platform, not too high, not too low. Option you can get the DCC, the adaptive suspension. We also have it equipped here today. Yes, the famous locks in the background are back. Long-term subscribers will know what I'm talking about. Here you can see the T-Roc facelift gets new tail lamps here, new signature. And if you have the optional matrix LED, then you also have a cascading turning indicator in the rear. Other than that, clean styling in the rear, this typical hatch style. However, Autogefühl fake exhaust police is right here for you, because these have been identified clearly as fake exhaust and need to be punished. The T-Roc still gets the classic Volkswagen key, and I think it's better than the new high glossy black one. Door closing sound. We have heard that better. Main criticism for the interior here, hard pack at the inside of the doors. Actually quite some interior changes. Let's begin with the steering wheel. At the moment these #capacitive BS buttons are not backlit. They soon will be. I'll show you how the difference is. The cool thing is the Ajlan has the perforation at the sides. That's actually quite decent. But when you pick with the style trim level, you can still get normal buttons at the steering wheel. Seats here, over the more elaborated one, here with Alcantara or microfiber in the middle part. And you can also get the top sport seats for the R-Line. Then you would have integrated head restraint like in the T-Roc R. So the R-Line moves more towards the R, at least if you pick some options then. It's not the biggest SUV, however, with this crossover style, you already have more comfort than in a normal compact hatch. And the seats are really very good, have some side support, also plush surface here. You can put that lower area a little bit longer. So really happy with the seats and also the overall seating position here, steering wheel in and out with a actually quite huge span here. Now the ignition is turned on and these buttons here are backlit at the steering wheel. That looks really fancy, but to control it is harder than before. General overview here for the interior. You can see once again that perspective of the steering wheel, styling wise pretty cool, and also how you control it, actually quite cool. Then here also new screen updates, a lot of high gloss black piano lacquer when it's cleaned. Looks cool, but scratches, fingerprints, and so on and so on. And here the optional Climatronic with the capacitive BS control. It looks again cool, and for a capacitive control it is quite okay, but you can also stick with the base one. If you do not pick this option, then you have still some knobs to turn actually. In the lower part, 2 USB-C chargers and also inductive charging pad for your phone. And this DSG shifting lever has also like this backlit gear view, so that looks quite fancy as well. And here also when you have the overdrive, you have a gear mode selector for off-road modes. A standard T-Roc would start 6.5 inch, then with dial or R-Line you get 8-inch screen, and optional this one 9.2 inch. The 8-inch has still a knob right here and here, this one completely buttonless, so that's a disadvantage. I think the only advantage that this one has is that you can show the map here and in the digital instrument at the same time then, because more processing power. The map itself is not that responsive. It's not the worst one. It's not a really good one. You can use it. The software updates have also made it a little bit faster, but still not really responsive. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto is available with wireless connection. And the cool thing is here, Beats sound system is inbuilt in this vehicle and also has a subwoofer in the back. And it actually gives you a quite decent sound. If you figure out the volume either here or at the capacitive buttons at the steering wheel. Oh, well, I need to show you here the rear view camera. The resolution for today's vehicle, I think that should be better. Digital instruments are clear to read, quite nice. Here in 10.25 inch. Otherwise it would start at the base 8-inch ones, so these are then a little bit smaller ones. And you can have different views, for example also this map view. You can also have it full screen. It does not flicker on your real eyes, just on camera here by the way. But it's really hard to adjust that so it's a decent image but still doesn't flicker. It's sometimes not really possible. And here my favorite view would be rather this one, with the classic gauges. So yeah, whatever you like, but I prefer rather this. When cup holders are not adaptive, well, it fits more for my basement garage beeper, but when you don't have adjustable things here, or like it's something that holds it tight, sometimes the bottles fly all over the place. Then armrest cover, it's actually quite firm, but looks quite cool with a leatherette surface. And some more space, for example, also for my leatherette purse here underneath. Well, the T-Roc is not that long, and headroom-wise, it does fit with tall adults in the rear, one is a 6 or 6'1". However, here knee room-wise, when I'm driving, doesn't really work. The seats themselves are actually very comfortable. You have a good upright seating position here in the rear. It's just that when you have tall, then it gets kinda close indeed. Yeah, and towards the middle part here with the huge middle tunnel, even closer now to USB-C chargers you have there. The trunk 445 liters maximum. However, if you have all-wheel drive and also the subwoofer from a Beat sound system, it's a little bit less. Here, however, still usable, 78 centimeters in length or 30 inches, and in width it's a meter or 40 inches. However, here the cabin trolley does not fit in the vertical way, then it wouldn't close, and you can see that underneath, then here in this case, there's just the subwoofer. But yeah, for the sound system, it's of course pretty cool. And you have a 2/3, 1/3 split, but also a ski hatch. And then you have a little bit less than 1 meter 50 or 57 inches in length. Engines, next to the 2-liter TDI, on the petrol side you have a 1-liter 3-cylinder, a 1.5-liter 4-cylinder, or today here the 2-liter 4-cylinder petrol engine, a turbo, and also then with all-wheel drive, 190 horsepower, front plus rear, however then on demand this all-wheel drive system. And then you can also get the 300 horsepower strong T-Roc R. You can also check a video out of this when we have it on our channel. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge with VW T-Roc facelift. Let's put it to the sports mode because the German Autobahn test is to commence. Here with the 2-liter TSI, 190 horsepower and all-wheel drive, front plus rear on demand. Also put that bigger speed in here. So we start from about 40 kilometers an hour and let's go. And now it's struggling. Yeah, but we're already close to 200 kilometers an hour, 125 miles an hour. Oh, now it's getting like, wind noises here from the A-pillar. Yeah, windows really close, 200 kilometers an hour now. But really stable on the road, although it's, this crossover style. And only here now at 200 kilometers an hour wind noise have been picking up. Let's see when we drop. When is it stopping from the A-pillar? Let's see. Now at about 150, but feels really stable on the road. It's actually quite decent. Not the biggest wheels on there, 17-inch here today. And on the brakes, yeah, good and precise feeling indeed. So, of course, it doesn't feel as sporty as a Golf, which is a little bit lower. But here, I think a good compromise, between some more crossover SUV thing, higher seating position. It's actually quite decent and comfortable here in these Alcantara seats in the R line. Really like that. You can also get these top sport seats here, as I mentioned earlier. They are also really comfortable. So seating-wise, really good job. And the steering input is actually also pretty precise. Soon also I go a little bit sportier in winding country roads and so on. But here so far, actually quite decent on the motorway. We can also hit the cruise control here with capacitive BS buttons on the steering wheel. You get used to it a little bit, but it's not really very good. Here when you press resume, you have 1 kilometer steps up or down or set, and with plus and minus 10 kilometer steps up and down. Sometimes you miss it a little bit. Here now in the dark in the tunnel you can see the climate unit in the lower part is also illuminated, so for a capacitive solution there it's actually quite decent, but I also told you earlier that you can also stick with base climate units when you do not pick this optional Climatronic actually. Overall it gives you a very balanced feeling, this vehicle, and it is very easy to control. It is one of the vehicles you just start in the morning, get inside, don't care about much else and just start driving. And it is this compromise that it's still small enough. See the blind spot monitor here as well in the side mirror. It's still small enough actually for the city, but it's already big enough that you can also take a longer Autobahn turn with this one here. So, and that's also making it so popular. As I said, it is one of the most popular VW vehicles now, meanwhile, overall. Now I'm getting off the motorway here, also a little bit faster in the corner. Let's see, getting precise from the steering. The suspension is not that soft nor hard. It's actually also a good compromise. And if you have that DCC, which we have here in the sport mode, it's a little bit stiffer then. But the adaptive suspension also then adapts in this area, and that's a good thing, because you can imagine it like this. So you start from the softest mode and then to the sportiest mode, but it's not like this, either soft or sporty. It's always the span, you know, where it moves depending on the road condition, and then you just move the whole span of it and not the individual setting. I hope you got what I meant by that. And that's actually the advantage then here of the adaptive suspension, so I can indeed recommend to pick this one. It's pretty dark in the face now, right? Here we go. Yeah, with the sun, a little bit tricky today, right? So now, traffic light to green. The engine is actually also quite responsive. As for the all-wheel drive, yeah, it is still a front-wheel bias. With the all-wheel drive here, of course, you have a little bit less of front-wheel bias than in this vehicle. So it is definitely more fun to drive it with the all-wheel drive. We've also a T-Roc R episode, of course, there it, you know, is even more stressed. However, it's not the most efficient engine. That would be rather the 1.5 petrol engine. Here the 2-liter TSI has more power, good punch here also on the motorway. However, then, yeah, as for fuel economy, also here with the all-wheel drive, something between 7 and 8 liters on 100 kilometers. That is more like 30 mpg US and 35 plus mpg UK. There's, of course, something better available as for the fuel economy. Alright, what about some agile driving? In the sports mode, by the way, also the S shifting mode is activated. That means the gears are turned up higher, later shifting up, earlier shifting down. You're coming quite well out of the corners. Of course, you feel that front wheel bias, yes, but the rear wheels are also helping then the more you apply the throttle. Also take a look at the steering wheel. I don't have to turn it that much. Quite progressive actually, and once again, very nice accelerating out. It's also not that you have massive understeer or something. Yeah, it's really very well balanced, this vehicle. This is, of course, this original Golf platform. And yeah, it's a very good one, you know. So the balanced handling of this vehicle is probably the coolest thing in driving. It hasn't changed with this facelift at all. And this is also one of the things why it's still so popular. At any time, by the way, you can go back here to the D-shifting mode, either here with the big shifting lever. When you're here in the manual shifting mode and shift yourself, you press and hold, then you're coming back to either the S mode or the D mode, depending on which you have put in at this moment. So once again, very good result here. As for the driving, here also when you do some slalom, stays really upright, and always depends, of course, usually you would drive in the normal or the comfort mode, just to have a little bit more comfort from this adaptive suspension, and the sport mode then only when you do things like these, for example.
So which one would you take home and which one would I actually take home? The Toyota Corolla Cross is a very interesting new offering. It shares the wheelbase with the CHR brother, but just offers a little bit more space, especially in the trunk and in the rear headroom. It is, for Toyota, a quite modern approach, but overall it doesn't feel like a super all-new vehicle, but it comes with this typical Toyota reliability and just does a lot of things right as an all-rounder vehicle. Especially in the US, for example, it also starts very low in the entry price. The European version is more an upmarket approach. The Honda HR-V, the smallest one here in the comparison, and has just a phenomenal relation of exterior length and interior space. That's where the Honda HR-V is leading. It's not like super much driving fun or something, but everything is easily laid out and the whole interior concept is just so flexible. The Kia Sportage, they try to lift the Sportage with the new generation into a more upmarket appeal. They also have controls alike in the Kia EV6, for example. They still go for a more classic powertrain approach, unlike in their all-electric vehicles. But of course, everything has been way much more modernized in the new Sportage. It drives very well and also has some decent offering of space on the interior. The VW T-Roc has been facelifted, however the user interface got more complicated with the facelift. It still has this classic VW approach and you get into the vehicle and you know directly everything. If you go for a low spec version, not the biggest infotainment, you also still have more manual knobs to turn and to press. That's the way you can basically save that one. It doesn't have too much rear legroom, that's the thing, but it's also not one of the biggest in this comparison. The Mazda CX-5 is probably one of the most traditional vehicles here in this review. It has a lot of driving fun. When you go for the 2.5 liter petrol engine, you also have enough power. The other ones are really underpowered with this vehicle, so I would rather not go for that one. So only pick it with the top trim level engine, at least I would do so. And it's also a vehicle that is very easy to learn and has been on the market for quite some time. And sometimes these older vehicles, so to speak, are in a way good because they don't have many new faults anymore or something. But overall, which one would I go for? Of course, it's always good to compare the concise dealer prices and then make your decision, because sometimes you might get a very good offering or something. However, what is very clear that price performance in most of the cases, and also the exterior to interior dimension relation, is won by the Honda HR-V. Driving fun is rather won by the VW T-Roc together with the Mazda CX-5. So if driving fun is the most important thing for you, comfort or seating wise, all are meanwhile actually pretty good. And the user interface is also quite good with all of these. So they more kind of have this classic approach, are not going out too far with new innovations and so on. And I think that's a good thing, because you do not have to get used to these vehicles. They are just the vehicles that you use every day, on and on and on, and they can just keep running, and they're easy to control in and out, and they do everything you want. To me, I really like the styling of Toyota Corolla Cross, and it was the best fuel saving engine. So if fuel savings are very important to you, that would be the Toyota Corolla Cross, and so styling wise, the Toyota Corolla Cross would be my number one. In general, I wouldn't mind having any of these vehicles in my garage, so because they all do a very great job at being an all-rounder SUV. But if I would have to pick right now, well, maybe as a surprise for you, I would take the Honda HR-V when I just need the smallest one, just to be very flexible in the city and still have a lot of space on the interior.
But hey, if it's not about those small city SUV and better finding a parking spot and not too much about the price, the overall favorite pick for me today would be the Kia Sportage. To me, from all of these SUVs here shown in this review, it delivers me the most upmarket impression, and so I would enjoy driving and owning it even the most. Especially the interior with the great sport seats, Alcantara use and so on, and also the user interface is actually up to date. This would be my most enjoyable pick for here today. Which one would be yours? Tell me in the comments, and also join us for more comparison episodes.